Mad Dog Gaddafi, the rise, the betrayal, and the fall of Africa's most controversial leader. Muammar Gaddafi, once hailed as a revolutionary and later branded Mad Dog by Western powers, remains one of the most polarizing figures in African history. His life story is a blend of ambition, defiance, betrayal, and tragedy. To some, he was a dictator. To others, a visionary who dared to dream of a united and independent Africa. The rise of Gaddafi. Born in 1942 in a Bedouin tent in the Libyan desert, Gaddafi rose to power in 1969 through a bloodless military coup that overthrew King Idris I. At just 27, he took control of Libya and soon began reshaping the country with his vision of Arab nationalism and socialism. He nationalized Libya's oil industry, redistributed wealth, improved healthcare, and made education free. Under his rule, Libya achieved one of the highest standards of living in Africa. He invested in massive infrastructure projects, including the Great Man-Made River, which brought fresh water to arid parts of the country. Champion of African unity. In his later years, Gaddafi turned his attention toward Africa. He envisioned a United States of Africa, with one army, one currency, and one passport. He funded African liberation movements, helped mediate regional conflicts, and pushed for economic independence from Western powers. He contributed billions to the African Union and supported countries like Zimbabwe, Mali, and South Africa in times of need. Yet, when NATO planes darkened Libyan skies in 2011, Africa stood silent. The continent he poured wealth into could not or would not come to his aid. The fall and brutal death. Gaddafi's downfall came during the Arab Spring. In 2011, anti-government protests erupted in Libya, fueled by long-standing grievances and inspired by uprisings in Tunisia and Egypt. As his regime cracked down, the West seized its opportunity. Under the pretext of protecting civilians, NATO, led by the US, France, and the UK, launched a bombing campaign against Gaddafi's forces. But the mission quickly shifted from protection to regime change. On October 20, 2011, Gaddafi was captured near his hometown of Sirte by rebel fighters. He was beaten, humiliated, and executed in the street. The man who once dreamed of Pan-African unity died at the hands of his own people, with the world watching. Why the West wanted him gone? Several reasons fueled Western hostility toward Gaddafi. Oil control. Libya held the largest proven oil reserves in Africa. Gaddafi's efforts to nationalize resources and bypass Western oil companies made him a threat to economic interests. Pan-Africanism. His push for a gold-backed African currency challenged the dominance of the US dollar and euro in African trade. Geopolitical defiance. Gaddafi was unpredictable. He funded resistance movements, spoke against US and NATO interventions, and called for a new global order. Reputation and past acts. The 1988 Lockerbie bombing and other alleged acts of terrorism made him a target of Western intelligence services. Simply put, Gaddafi was no longer useful to the West. He had outlived his role and become an obstacle. Africa's silence. Despite Gaddafi's generous support of African nations, few leaders raised their voices during the NATO-led assault. Fear, political pressure, and Western influence silenced many. Some saw Gaddafi's death as a cautionary tale: stand against the West and you'll stand alone. Legacy. Today, Libya lies fractured, a nation without stable governance. Many Libyans regret the chaos that followed his death. Across Africa, some still mourn Gaddafi, not just for who he was, but for what he represented, a bold attempt at African independence. Whether mad, martyr, or misunderstood visionary, Muammar Gaddafi's story remains a powerful lesson in global politics, betrayal, and the price of dreaming too far beyond the world's comfort zone.